Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight at the inaugural State of the District. My name is Anna Stampley, Director of Parent Education and Community Engagement, and your host for this evening's presentation.
Hello, I'm Jill Gilday, the Superintendent of Park City School District.
Since the establishment of the Park City School District in 1875 with a one-room school building, the vision and mission has always been to support and instruct the whole child. The Park City community throughout the decades has always rallied to support our ever-developing, ever-changing, ever-growing school district. From dances and formal balls to raise funds for school building expansions in the 1900s, to the 2021 education bond, where our community today voted yes to the infrastructure changes needed to continue to support excellence in programming for tomorrow and our next generation youth. We thank you on behalf of the faces of our future.
Hi. I'm Mary Lou Tolley, and I went to Park City High School. I went through the system and I graduated in 1955. And I went to school in the first grade at Marsac. My father had Mrs. Radden for a teacher. I had Mrs. Radden, and then my son Scott had Mrs. Radden. So all three of us had the same first grade teacher. I was chosen for the yearbook staff when I was in 7th grade, and to me that was a big deal. And then I ended up as editor when I was a senior. And that was fun. And what I really liked were the sports. I was a cheerleader, and my other 3 sisters were also cheerleaders later on. It's wonderful for me to see my great-grandchildren and how well they are doing, and to see what they can become and the different classes they have. And I know the little ones take Spanish and they love that. We never had that kind of an opportunity.
Hi, I'm Caleb Fine. I'm the principal at Treasure Mountain Junior High. I was fortunate to move here when I was 8 years old, so Park City has definitely been home for me and my family. And I'm a graduate of Park City High School in 2004. I'd like to say I truly am a minor. I was fortunate enough to be a part of both the great academic programs and playing athletics. At Park City High School, it's fun. I still walk into the gym that I played in. So there's some great tradition at Park City High School, at Treasure Mountain Junior High, and at Echo Middle School. This is a place my wife and I choose to call home. We're fortunate that we can be in this incredible community. So to have a bond get passed, it just shows the investment that this community is willing to continue to make in our schools. We need these spaces that become more flexible, that can serve a 9 through 12 and a 6 through 8 middle school. My kids are going to elementary schools. They're going to be able to service students more often during the day, and we're truly be able to wrap around all of our kids. So as a community member, I'm excited. I'm excited that our community invests in schools and wants to see the best education for all students, regardless of age, demographic, gender, et cetera. This community continues to be committed to this district and incredible education for our students.
Rah, 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 Park High, dear old Park High, best school in the land. Rah, 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 Park High, dear old Park High, we're a loyal band. Rah, 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 cheer our dear old high school. Show your loyalty. 3 cheers for your school, our school, my school. Fight for victory. Rah, rah.
Tonight is a celebration and recognition of where we've been, where we are, and where we are going as a school district and as a community. Our community is an integral part of our success as a school district. Our schools are at the center of a vibrant community. Together, we are building a structure of support for the success of our students, the faces of our future. We would like to recognize members of our community who have consistently supported our schools as partners in education. The following award ceremony was previously recorded for this event tonight.
I'd like to ask Dr. Gilday, our Superintendent of Schools, to join me at the podium to present the Partner in Education Awards. Thank you so much for Anna and her teams, support of our first annual State of the District address. Our first award tonight goes to a Park City High School junior whose photos you see on the screen behind me. She submitted these photos to the district website video contest, and we are proud to say they will hold a prominent place on our district website. This award goes to Sydney Stanley. Congratulations, Sydney. Our next award goes to a member of our community who volunteered many hours supporting the district and the community. He worked tirelessly with our nursing team and our chief operations officer in a very fluid COVID environment to create a highly effective platform for communicating and updating our community throughout the COVID pandemic. We'd like to thank and present this Partner in Education Award to Dr. Matt Tooney. Thank you so much, Matt. Our next two awards are being presented to two teachers who have demonstrated support for our schools and their students throughout their many years with us in Park City School District. Dennis Harrington for his support of the arts and Nikki Clayton for her support of our students in athletics. Every step of the way for us. We couldn't be more grateful. Thank you for bringing music to our students' lives. Our next award is being presented to a district director who has been part of our school district for almost 2 decades. His understanding of our vision and mission and his true dedication to partnering with our community to bring excellence in education to our students and our community is unsurpassed. We'd like to present this Partner in Education Award to our Director of Community Ed, Todd. Thank you, Todd, for calling. Our final award in recognition this evening is being presented to a community member and partner in education who was born and has grown up in Park City. She attended Park City Schools and is now not only raising her children here, but supports our school district and has dedicated herself to the improvement, growth, and support of all students, the faces of our future. Please help me congratulate the President of our Board of Education, Erin Grady. Thank you, Erin, for all that you do. The endless hours of volunteerism is incredible.
First off, I would just like to say thank you to my entire board and to the entire staff of the Park City School District. And thank you to the community for supporting the master facility bond that will benefit all of our students, the basis of our future.
Thank all of our honorees of our first district address and for their tireless dedication to our school system, our students, and our community. Thank you.
Congratulations to our award winners. Unfortunately, Mickey Clayton was out of town and couldn't join us for the ceremony. And now I would like to formally introduce our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Jill Gilday.
Thank you so much, Anna. I'd like to thank each of our Park City School District team members for their contributions to this presentation, as the ongoing efforts in our academic, operations, and business areas create and support the conditions for staff and student success throughout the Park City schools. Our schools and district are strategically aligned with a vision and mission directed by our community. Our role as a district is to assist the community in achieving its aspirational vision and mission for our schools and students. We are grateful and appreciative of your daily contributions that support our students and in the community's support of infrastructure improvements over the next 2 years. Despite any obstacle or challenge thrown our way, we are persistent in providing opportunities for our students to achieve and excel. From incredible results by our students in athletics, arts, academics, and activities for our first generation Dream Big and Bright Future students. We've reached a 65% college attendance and 94% persistence rate, where the average matriculation for this group of students is 15%. Park City graduate enrollment in top universities across the country is strong. Students are enrolled in every branch of the military. Results of our educators and community's efforts are visible each day. Anna and the parent education and community engagement team, you rallied and have provided some beautiful imagery tonight that reflect our past, present, and reach into a hope-filled and optimistic future. I appreciate your willingness to quickly adapt to the changing conditions brought forward in this latest COVID environment. At Park City School District, our mission is to inspire and support all students equitably to achieve their academic and social potential. The example of this driving mission is interwoven and integrated in the work of teaching and learning, human resources, and in our financial priority setting annually. Our Board of Education champions a vision that is student-centered with a focus and emphasis on the whole child. Our students are safe, supported, engaged, challenged, and healthy, whether we are working with our earliest learners in pre-K through high school graduation and beyond. As we remain aligned to a strategic focus of academic success, excellent personnel, leadership, communication, and community partnerships, we continue as a district to create the conditions for student and staff success. The school district is a hallmark of our community's success and is central to healthy and vibrant community life. Tonight, you will hear more from both academic and operational areas of Park City School District. From the academic team, you'll hear about the work that has been ongoing throughout the district and that aligns our students' educational experience to the broad outcomes outlined in the Utah's Portrait of the Graduate, as well as the operational push that it takes to ensure our facilities meet the needs of staff and students today in times of a global pandemic and in preparation for our next generation of learners. From building a base camp for the instructional framework and academic progress of our youth to the facilities improvements that will support educational programming into the future, Park City schools from pre-K through 12th grade are student-centered and future-focused. Please join me as we see and hear what has been happening academically in the Park City School District.
The mission of the Park City School District is to equitably support students to achieve their academic and social potential. To do this, our attention needs to be on the whole child. This means that our work involves more than academic achievement alone. We need to understand each child's level of engagement and seek to support them when they struggle and challenge them to apply their learning. We must also focus on a student's social, emotional, and physical health and well-being. Each child has individual strengths and needs. Helping children reach their potential means truly understanding each child's current levels and how to help them grow from there.
Learning is a personal experience. It requires that we get to know each one of our students individually. Knowing our students is the key to building trust with them. This school year, see your students as they want to be seen. View them with a growth mindset. Explicitly point out their strengths and their abilities. Notice their interests, their preferred learning activities. Create lesson plans and learning activities that they can relate to as a part of their lived experience. As you do this, our classrooms and our schools become inclusive environments for everyone.
In 2019, the State Board of Education shared Utah's Portrait of a Graduate, which identifies skills and characteristics that each graduate should develop as a result of their education in a Utah high school. The portrait is based on the motivational theory and focuses on students' mastery, accountability, and purpose. The Portrait of a Graduate framework is our guide to understanding the academic and social emotional benchmarks that need to be in place in every grade level throughout the district. This upcoming school year, PCSD stakeholders will review the portrait of a graduate and work together to begin to determine how to utilize the expertise of our counselors and social workers to not only provide, but work with educators to embed social and emotional learning in instruction.
During the pandemic last year, Park City teachers, counselors, and leaders met every Friday. We knew that one result of COVID, with our pivot to different learning options from in-person to hybrid to remote, might be that students and families would want to co-design their own options. We know that education is at a crossroads nationwide, and here in Park City, we've needed to determine if what we've traditionally offered to students need to be reconsidered and redesigned.
Our Friday discussions included talk of personalized competency-based instruction and putting systems in place that acknowledge our students as individual learners with different interests and needs. We examined our current system looking for instances where individualized student experiences already exist. We focused on programs that offer our students opportunities to experience real-world learning, such as PC CAPS and CTE pathways.
In essence, our Friday meetings helped us begin to understand how to move from a vision of what we want to what we do to make that vision a reality, to transition from poster to practice. In the end, we had narrowed our vision of the future of Park City by working towards the 4 basic ideas we called the 4 Ps.
The 4 Ps describe practices that ensure a more personalized approach for student learning. Learning profiles describe not only a student's academic assessment data, but also provide information about students' interests and skills. Customized learning paths provide a variety of ways to explore, engage, and experience learning where the student is a co-designer with autonomy and independence. Proficiency-based progress, where learners understand what they are expected to master through learning targets and proficiency scales. Partnerships with businesses and community partners for real-world learning experiences.
Supporting each child with different and unique needs may seem like an enormous task. In some instances, it may even feel as daunting as climbing Mount Everest, but the view from the summit is worth it. The strategic focus at PCSD over the next 5 years is to transition to a more personalized learning approach. This is a big idea and will take time to achieve. Our efforts at this time are to establish a frame for all of us to share common expectations, experience relevant support, and hold each other accountable. If we are going to help our students take a personalized pathway to reach the summit and see possibility, we have to prepare. We have to set up our symbolic base camp so that collectively we are prepared to take on the challenge of shifting to a more personalized learning approach.
So what did the next 5 years look like? What do we need to do to set up our base camp? Now, setting up our base camp involves ensuring specific and intentional teaching and learning practices are in place in every school and in every classroom. These practices must align to designing and delivering learning that is inclusive of all learners. Last year, the Park City School District Instructional Framework was shared and feedback regarding the framework was collected. This year, we will begin to use the instructional framework to help bring intentional focus to Tier 1 instruction.
The Park City School District Instructional Framework has 4 key sections: planning and preparing instruction, instructional delivery, assessments and data analysis, and of course, classroom culture. Each of the Park City School District schools, in conjunction with leadership teams, has developed an implementation plan to put this instructional framework in place. Throughout the school year, each school site will focus on that particular area or section that will best support that school's goals. And of course, professional development activities as well as staff meetings will be offered to support the understanding and using of this most important instructional framework.
The instructional framework is more than just a tool to describe expectations for teaching and learning. It is also aligned to Utah's effective teaching standards. The Educator Evaluation Policy Advisory Team, a team of educators and leaders, came together to use the instructional framework to consider and adjust educator evaluation in Park City. So as we set up base camp and prepare for a more personalized approach to instruction, it makes sense to transition from JPAS to an evaluation system that supports educators in their efforts to implement the instructional framework. This next year, the educator evaluation system will shift, And school leaders will be using a walkthrough tool that can provide useful data for conversations about the implementation and use of the instructional framework.
The 2021-22 school year will be an important year as we focus on setting up for our future and polishing our skills to be able to guide our students along a purposeful pathway to life beyond high school. Helping students to see and design their personal pathway begins the moment that they begin in our schools. This year, students in elementary school will participate in a pilot program called Reach Your Summit Fridays. 4 times each year, students in a specific grade level will participate in enrichment programming while their teachers plan and prepare, participate in PD, and collaborate together. The Reach Your Summit Fridays will introduce students to their strengths and interests through social emotional learning, experiences designed for real-world learning, learning activities provided in partnership with community organizations, and through the lens of 4 specific purposes or pathways: communicator, innovator, maker, and analyzer. Our elementary schools will also continue to transition to competency-based learning with 4th and 5th grade teams learning to implement a standards-based report card.
As you can see, our strategy for the next 5 years is to prepare ourselves to support a more personalized approach to learning, to help our students begin to understand their strengths and interests, and co-design learning experiences that provide meaningful real-world experiences. You can think of Reach the Summit as our new tag phrase meant to describe our goal to provide instruction that meets individual students where they are and helps them move along their pathway of potential to the summit peak of possibility.
Here's a brief recap of our strategic focus for the next 5 years. First, we'll continue to provide a guaranteed and viable curriculum for all students by implementing the PCSD Instructional Framework. We will also conduct program evaluations in alignment with Utah's core standards review timeline, and we will continue to construct grade-level curriculum guides. Second, we'll create a human-centered culture that recognizes the whole individual. We will use Utah's Portrait of a Graduate to identify grade-level benchmarks focused on developing graduates with mastery, autonomy, and purpose. Third, we will continue to systematize multi-tiered systems of support, or MTSS, that focus on academics and social emotional responsibility. This year, we welcome a new MTSS coordinator to further support site-level teams. Fourth, a new educator evaluation system will replace JPAS, and it is aligned to the instructional framework. Additionally, and importantly, professional development opportunities in Park City School District will model the autonomy and choice we desire for our students. And finally, as we think about the future of schools in Park City, we will continue to implement competency-based learning so that we can more accurately assess students' understanding to be able to design subsequent learning that supports and challenges them appropriately. Our strategic approach to spend the next 5 years setting up base camp to reach the summit will provide our students with great opportunity to reach their potential and to be prepared for every possibility.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Mike Tanner, the Chief Operations Officer for the Park City School District. And as you can see, we have a lot of great things going on the educational side of the house. I'd like to talk with you for a few moments tonight just about some of the things we have going on in the operational side of the house, which includes everything from food service to transportation to buildings and grounds and keeping our facilities safe and all of the other things that are associated with running a school district. So on the operations side of the house, we want to let you know, as I'm sure you know, it's been a very challenging year for us, even more challenging than last year. I think there was a collective sigh of relief at the end of the school year last year, where our employees kind of took a big step back, a big breath, only to get hit even harder this year when they walked in the door. I'm sure everyone's experienced that at their homes, and we're no different than that here in the district. COVID has had a significant impact on our operations. There's no doubt about it. It's changed the way that we've made meals. It's changed the way that we've transported our children. It's changed our safety protocols. It's changed all of the things that we do to keep your children safe in the school. And I'm proud to say that we've done a great job in making those things work. I want you to ensure the public that we've got great, robust mitigation efforts continually in place from the first days of the pandemic. We really concentrated early on the indoor air quality, and also all of the mitigation techniques that we've grown accustomed to, from spacing to hand washing to flush toilets and sinks, and all the other things that we've done to keep our children safe. One of the things that we've been challenged with here in the district are the ever-evolving edicts coming to us from the Center for Disease Control, the Utah Department of Health, and the Summit County Health Department. That guidance is changing almost, it seems, on a daily basis. And at the district, we're kind of at the tail end of executing on that guidance. So we appreciate the public's support in understanding that these things are unprecedented, and we're doing our best to stay up with the ever-changing guidance. And I think we're doing a great job. As you all know, we had a mask mandate that was brought to us from the county about a week ago. We had tests to start when we first came back from the break for a week to give our students the opportunity to test if they may have been exposed over the holidays. And we just had tests to stay go from the high school through Treasure Mountain down to Ecker today. All of that was done out of Hyde with staff volunteers staffing the testing stations. And we are proud to say that that was a great success. The efforts there with Tests to Stay were designed to identify children who were positive within the schools, remove them from the school environment to try to minimize the spread within the schools, and ultimately return those children back to the school environment to be educated. As we all know, the Omicron variant has stepped up the pain to a new level. We're really experiencing it here in the district. We've had significant staffing challenges throughout the district, from our cooks, through our drivers, through our maintenance staff, through our instructional aides, through our teachers, administrative staff. There is an employee group that hasn't been touched in some way, either personally or with their families, and it's been a lot of work. But people are suffering from COVID fatigue, but I'm glad to say that we have a really great team here at Park City School District, and they're really stepping up to the plate and putting a quality product on the plate despite the challenges. One of the things that we're very proud of this year, despite COVID, is the work on our master facilities plan. And the master facility plan, as the public recognizes, is a multi-year process, started over 4 years ago. And we brought a team of community members together, stakeholders, educational stakeholders, to listen. And what do we want our communities and schools to look like in the future? And that input was then taken by a group, an architectural group called GSBS, who led some of the focus groups for the stakeholders, and produced a master facilities plan for the district. That master facilities plan was then, we identified some very clear goals that the community wanted. First, the community wanted a comprehensive high school experience, and we're going to be able to provide that with the new plan. They wanted a comprehensive junior high experience at Ecker Hill, which we'll also be able to accomplish with the plan. They wanted early childhood in our elementary schools and wraparound services to support the community further. So that package was identified and brought to the public for a bond vote, which we are very happy and thankful that the community supported us resoundingly by a 2-to-1 margin in moving forward with that. Once that vote was secured, we had a MOCA, which is another well-known architectural firm in the state, that is acting as the project management expert representing the district as this project unfolds. The district early on started soliciting design build teams, meaning an architect and a builder together as a team that would work together as a package to deliver these schools for us. We're proud to say that we hired two great design build teams for our our 4 elementary school projects. We have the architectural firm of the VCBO coupled with the builder of Hughes, and Whitney Ward is with us tonight from VCBO to talk through the progress on the elementary projects. along with our secondary project team, which is represented by MHTN, who is the architect, and Hogan, who is the builder, represented by Brian Parker. So I'll hand the batons over to both of the Whitney and Brian to talk about the progress made on the master facility plan. I appreciate the few moments we've had to speak with you tonight. And I hope you can see our progress as the concepts that the community has helped us develop are now being converted to reality by these design build teams. So Whitney, baton's yours.
All right, thanks, Mike. So we're so excited to be a part of the work and the transformation that's happening up at Park City School District. As Mike mentioned, we're teamed up at VCBO Architecture with Hughes Construction, and we are working on the 4 elementary schools. And we're tackling these schools sort of two at a time. So again, we had a great starting point with the master plan that was created for the district leading up to the bond. And you can see here that master plan very clearly identified paths for expansion for each of the 4 elementary schools to meet the future needs of the district. And in addition to the site plans, they also created floor plans that illustrate the conceptual configuration of the expansion for each of these schools. So again, really great starting point for us as we dove into these projects. And as we move forward, we're going to be looking at Mcpulling Elementary School and Jeremy Ranch Elementary School as sort of our phase 1 projects. And both of those schools include wraparound services, community education, as well as early education preschool programs included in them. So here in the diagram on the left, you can see the master plan, floor plan configuration. And on the right, it's very similar, but the slightly updated floor plans as we've been working through programming in our early schematic design. So in yellow and red on the top of the screen, you can see the community education and wraparound services component. In teal, as you look at the plans, you can see the early education areas and our focus on really making sure that we have the right spaces and configuration to meet the long-term needs of the district, with that really nice multi-purpose room in yellow with this sort of tables shown. They look like flowers on the screen. So we feel like these plans are really coming together nicely, and we're excited about the direction that they're going in. And they'll be consistent between Jeremy Ranch and Mcpulling to really provide ultimate flexibility for the district. And as we look at where they're occurring on the project site, you can see here for Jeremy Ranch Elementary School, we're looking at expanding to the north with the new building footprint. And then there will also be some site work to provide a new drop off on the east side with some parking and some reconfiguration of the playground areas to make sure that we're again meeting the needs of the district into the future. And similarly for Mcpulling, we're looking at an expansion to the east side of Mcpulling, reconfiguring the drop-off loop on the east side and tying into the parking lot associated with Treasure Mountain there, and creating a nice clear entry for both of these schools through these projects. And with these two, again, our initial phase, we're right now in what we call schematic design. And so we're working through that. The thing that's important for you all is probably the groundbreaking date and the time that the kids will be able to go back to school in these new spaces. And so we're looking at groundbreaking late April to May 2022. So that's really exciting. It's going to be this spring. And then we're looking at completion and occupancy in August of 2023 so that the schools are ready to go for the 2023 school year. And then our second phase of work will be Parley's Park and Trailside. And Parley's Park, we've spent some time looking at how to really make this as efficient and effective as possible for the school. So there are some modifications from the master plan that's shown on the left to what we're proposing right now on the right. And a lot of this is really saving some of the existing infrastructure, the kitchen, and transitioning the existing multi-purpose to cafeteria while providing a new multi-purpose space for the school. And then you can also see, again, the preschool expansion that we're looking at. It's technically sort of on the east side of the site, but it's on the upper right-hand side of your screen. And then for Trailside, again, a very similar diagram. The master plan really gave us a lot of good guidance here. We did a slight modification to make a little bit more of a compact floor plan, but you can see the expansion off to the right-hand side of the existing school here. And so both of these will be what we're calling phase 2. And with that, the schedule is just delayed a year for groundbreaking and completion for these two projects. So the next slide shows this with, again, groundbreaking in spring of 2023 and completion and occupancy for the beginning of the school year in 2024. So again, we're very excited to be a part of this, and thank you guys. And I'm going to transfer it over to Brian to talk about his exciting projects.
Thank you, Whitney. So MHTN Architects, teamed with Hogan Construction, has been fortunate to be able to help with the high school and Ecker Hill Middle School. As we take the master plan and begin to add the layers of detail to create the final design documents, one of the things we're careful not to lose sight of are the guiding principles that were developed in the community meetings and stakeholder meetings that Michael alluded to earlier. And you can see those guiding principles on the screen. It's something that's in the back of our mind as we're considering all of the design decisions that are being made with both the high school and the middle school. With those guiding principles, we've kind of developed this interwoven design concept, as there are other things that we're hearing and learning, working with the community and working with the schools. And the idea will be to interweave all of these different design ideas into a unified whole with both of the schools, as there's an existing component and this new component, with the new component set up to really begin to transform the space to support the educational experience that was also talked about earlier today. As we start to look at Park City High School, the development, the addition and improvement will happen on the west side of the school, which is where the oldest existing piece of the school currently sits. The blue dashed line that you see kind of creates the division between a phase 1 and a phase 2, where phase 1 would happen to the north and be a three-story development that would house some CTE spaces and classrooms. Once those classrooms are constructed, then the development to the south would happen. Taking the master plan and beginning to have more conversations with so many people in the district, things are beginning to take shape and to evolve with the high school plan. The floor plan specifically, as I mentioned, the north section has the 3 layers. The basement layer will have the CTE and Park City CAPS programs, with a shop that will be, or a fab lab that could be daylighted towards the bottom there, and then a couple of levels above that. On the main level or first floor, towards the south would be the learning center community and some specific special education support spaces with more CTE towards the north. And then the third level, which will be in line with the second level of the existing high school, will be comprised of academic spaces and learning communities. As we start to think about the aesthetic of what the high school addition will become, we're respectful of the recent additions and how Park City High School looks, and also thinking of and hearing the community's passion for their natural setting. We're really looking and thinking of the school being, or maybe looking potentially more like a nature center school than a mountain lodge school. And so you see a lot of openness, transparency, and a way, especially with that west view from the common area, to celebrate the mountains in the natural setting. At Ecker, as the 8th grade will move to Ecker, some additional learning communities will be developed. Those are the wings that you see coming out towards the north side of this diagram. And then an additional gymnasium will also be built towards the west here. As we get into the specifics of what we're looking at here, the idea with the gymnasium, or the new gymnasium, is that it will replace the existing gymnasium and that space will be repurposed as a cafeteria dining area, so that the cafeteria dining area that currently sits in the heart of the school will become a CTE Fab Lab area where career and technical education will be on display right in the heart of the school. And then additions towards the north would be the new learning communities that would house 2 grade levels, 1 in each wing. And then the second level, where there's some existing CTE space and science space, will be continue to be used for those purposes. And there'll be a second level of learning community built there as well. And then with Ecker Hill, like Park City High School, we're looking at respecting and complementing the existing design, and then with the new additions, again taking on sort of a nature center feel and celebrating the natural environment that is around Park City.
Thank you all for joining us tonight at our inaugural State of the District. Enjoy the rest of your evening.